What we gardena in ye dagum, theud kuninga, thrim ye frunon, hu tha athelingas Elain fremedon. Thus opens the Anglo-Saxon epic of Beowulf, remembered as one of the greats of world history and placed alongside others of its stature, though where it differs from the Aeneid or the Iliad is in its opening. For our initial vignette has nothing to do with the piece's namesake, nor even his people. We are instead given the story of shield shaving and the shielding royal house of Denmark. Quote, "Then shield shaving startled his neighbors, measured mead halls, made them his own. Since down by the sea swirl, sent from nowhere, the Danes found him, floating with gifts, a strange king child. Shield grew tall then, roamed the waterways, rode through the land, till every strong man, each war leader, sailed the whale paths, sought him with gold, there knelt to him. That was a king." The choice to open the epic with this brief recounting rather than our Yiddish warrior was certainly deliberate, and scholars differ wildly on possible explanations, though popular theories include a foreshadowing of Beowulf's rise and fall, and a characterization of the model king. What no scholar denies, however, was the importance of Shield's tale to the medieval listener, perhaps as recognizable to an Anglo-Saxon Thane as Odysseus to a Greek. Yet unlike the latter, our sources are few and far between. We know so little that debate continues as to what the name actually meant. Is it Shield, son of Scef, or Shield with the sheave? Are we reading of a folk hero blending the agricultural and warrior class, or the son of another mythical and godlike figure? For much like Shield, Scef was certainly known in English legend, appearing in prose, poetry, and most often genealogy. The two figures, however, are thoroughly intertwined, ranging from distinct legends to syncretic figures, thus requiring a thorough examination. The Old English poem Widsið names Scef as an illustrious king of the Lombards, a North Germanic people who ruled Italy from the mid-6th century until their defeat by Charlemagne in 774. Scef, called Scefa in the piece, is not the focus, only mentioned in a long list of rulers containing figures such as Caesar of Rome, Alexander of Macedon, Attila of the Huns, and Offa of Angel, a semi-legendary ancestor of the Mercian line, though the most eye-catching is that of Hrothgar, with the mention of his nephew Hrothulf and their defeating of the Hethebards at the gates of Heorot. The dating of the poem is of course difficult to pin down, though it may be our earliest account of these legendary figures, thus bringing us to their most prominent appearance in Anglo-Saxon poetry. Though I have already spoken of Beowulf at some length, its further mention is not uncalled for, as it remains one of our best sources of the legend. The Shield episode, as dubbed by scholars, has numerous theories for its inclusion. There is the obvious note of why we open with it, because Beowulf first makes reference not to our Yiddish warrior, but the glory of kings, and that glory is what Shield exemplifies. He deprived enemies of their mead benches, gained tribute from surrounding lands, and codified his rule in the dynasty that followed. Shield is an Alexandrian figure to monarchs of the period, and the poem of Beowulf is one of kingship itself. Though, whilst I am a fan of this theory espoused by academics such as M.J. Swanson and James W. Earle, others persist, with the most notable presented by J.R.R. Tolkien, who noted the foreshadowing potential Shield served, displaying an illustrious rise and fall in a similar manner to Beowulf himself. A rise and fall that, like the entirety of the poem, contained elements of the forgotten pagan past, most notably in the ship burial. Quote, "No words have sung of a wealthier grave ship, bright with war weapons, ballasted with gold, swords and ring mail, rich for drifting, through the foaming tide, far from that land. Their lord was laden, for long sail paths, with love and sorrow, splendid with gifts, for those who had ferried him far through the mist, once sent them a sailor, strange treasure child. It's a practice not uncommon for kings of the time, with the tradition too existing in Christian circles. It was said that even St. Gildas, famous for his De Excidio et Conquestu Britanniae, received a similar burial off the coast of Brittany, asking the Lord God to decide his fate. In Scyld's case, however, it was clearly a call back to the foundling's arrival, alone and naked, on a ship. It is here we see again a merging of the tales between two kings, as the Chronicle of Æthelweard, written in the late 10th century, ascribes this story to Scef. Quote, "This Sceaf arrived with one light ship in the island of the ocean which is called Skani, with arms all around him. He was a very young boy and unknown to the people of that land, but he was received by them, and they guarded him with diligent attention as one who belonged to them, and elected him king. From his family, King Æthelwulf derived his descent." This source further names Scef as the father of Scyld, lending credence to the Scyld son of Scef translation of the latter's name. Regardless, it's for this reason, among others, that scholars insist the Anglo-Norman chronicler William of Malmesbury had access to this material, for he, in his Gesta Regum Anglorum, relayed a similar tale. Though it may seem strange to us today, the notion of ship arrivals carried great significance in North Germanic culture, often signaling divine or otherworld origins, though for Anglo-Saxon kings, it meant something explicitly Christian. King Alfred the Great of Wessex is named a descendant of both Sceldwa and Scefa in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, with the latter described as a forgotten son of Noah, born on the ark itself, effectively displaying the lasting tension between the Christian present and pagan past at the time of its writing, as the tale of Scyld's arrival was morphed into an explicitly Christian narrative, whilst giving Alfred the unique ability to claim divine lineage, as if a Roman princeps in a Christian kingdom, though we need not look far to find Scyld's explicitly pagan origins. The Prose Edda, penned by Snorri Sturluson in the 13th century, relates the tale of Scyld, established in the land by his father Odin, from which the Scyldings sprang. This trend continues in the Gesta Danorum of Saxo Grammaticus, the Brevis Historia Regum Dacie of Sven Aggeson, and perhaps most importantly, the Yngling Saga, also penned by Sturluson. With references to this legend across Nordic literature, it should come as no surprise that scholars uphold a lost Scylding saga certainly existed, and would likely be our most extensive source to the legend. Due to its absence, however, we are left with little but passing references to explore, which is perhaps what makes it so intriguing. For with every short line, brief prologue, or name in genealogy, a wider, more comprehensive legend is unveiled. Yet with every attempt to put the pieces together, something falls short. Stories don't align, origins differ, and relations change. Yet what's certain is that the legend persists, though we cannot grasp it. I am reminded of a quote by Alfred the Great, written in lamentation of the great decline in English literacy, as he roamed from town to abbey, filled with books unable to be read, lamenting that we can see their footsteps still, but cannot follow after them. Though for these legends not but footsteps remain, I still find them well worth exploring. Thank you for watching.